When the Holy Spirit orders your steps, there is no need for fear, because you are not left wandering through the maze of life on your own. You are not stumbling through darkness, trying to guess your way forward, nor are you left to rely only on your own wisdom or understanding. The Spirit of God becomes your compass, your light, your unfailing guide. There is a quiet confidence that settles deep in your heart, even when everything around you seems uncertain, because you know the one leading you cannot make a mistake. Have you ever noticed how our human nature longs for control, yet deep inside we know we are limited? We make plans, we set goals, but so often those plans are interrupted by disappointments, detours, and unexpected delays. And it is in those very moments that the Spirit whispers, "Trust me, I am ordering your steps." This is not a vague sense of direction. It is the hand of God guiding each detail of your journey. There are times you may not see the full path, but the Spirit does not need to show you everything at once. He shows you the next step, and when you take it in faith, He reveals the next one after that. It is like walking with a lamp in the night. It does not light up the entire road, but it gives just enough light for the step ahead. That is how the Spirit works. He keeps you dependent on Him moment by moment, day by day, and with every step you grow in trust and intimacy with Him. And the beauty of it is this: when you are led by the Spirit, there is no wasted time, no wasted experience, no wasted detour. What looked like a setback was part of His direction. What looked like a closed door was His way of protecting you from something that could have destroyed you. What felt like waiting was actually His preparation for something greater than you could imagine. When the Spirit orders your steps, even your delays are divine. Even your disappointments are redirections. Even your tears are turned into testimonies. There is such assurance when you lean fully on His guidance. Think about it. How many times have you tried to run ahead of God, only to find yourself weary and lost? And yet, when you pause, when you yield, when you say, "Spirit of God, I trust you," suddenly peace floods your soul. The weight of carrying your own life falls off your shoulders because you realize it was never your burden to carry in the first place. He is not only willing to guide you, He delights in guiding you. He delights in watching you take that step of faith, even when you cannot see where it will lead, and sometimes His leading does not look logical. Sometimes He will lead you to places that make no sense to your natural mind. He may call you to stand still when you want to run, or to walk forward when everything inside you screams to retreat. But when you obey, when you surrender, you find that His ways are higher than your ways, His thoughts higher than your thoughts. What you thought was confusion turns into clarity. What you thought was an ending becomes the doorway to a new beginning. The Spirit orders your steps not only in the big moments of life, but also in the small, ordinary choices. It is easy to look for Him in the miraculous, but He is just as present in the quiet, everyday details. The conversation you have with a stranger, the word you speak in kindness, the moment you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, all of these are steps directed by Him. And later, you look back and realize that each small step was part of a bigger picture, a divine masterpiece being woven together by His hand. The assurance of divine direction brings with it a restfulness that the world cannot offer. Others may chase after certainty, after security, after answers, but you have something greater. You have the Spirit of the living God within you. He is not limited by time, by circumstances, or by human reasoning. He sees the end from the beginning, and when He orders your steps, you can walk with confidence, even if your eyes cannot see the full path ahead. So take heart, child of God, you do not walk alone. Every step you take in obedience is a step ordered by heaven. The Spirit has already gone ahead of you, preparing the way, removing obstacles, and making crooked paths straight. And as long as you let Him lead, you will never be lost, you will never be forsaken, and you will never miss what He has prepared for you. That is the assurance of divine direction when the Holy Spirit orders your steps. When the Holy Spirit orders your steps, He has a way of transforming the ordinary into something extraordinary. What seems insignificant in your eyes becomes weighty with eternal purpose when His hand is upon it. Life has a way of making us believe that only the grand, the loud, the visible moments matter, but the Spirit of God delights in using the small and hidden things to reveal His glory. That quiet prayer whispered in the stillness of the night, that small act of kindness extended when no one was watching, that decision to forgive when you could have held on to bitterness, all of these ordinary choices, touched by the Spirit, become extraordinary in their impact. So often, people wait for something dramatic before they believe they are walking in God's will. They think it must be a lightning bolt from heaven or a miraculous sign written across the sky, but the Spirit does not always work in dramatic flashes. Many times He moves quietly, steadily, shaping the ordinary events of your life into stepping stones for His divine plan. The places where you thought nothing significant could happen become the very places where His glory is revealed. What seems mundane to you becomes the stage for His miraculous touch. Look at the way God works throughout history. He takes fishermen and turns them into apostles. He takes a shepherd boy and makes him a king. He takes a little lunch of bread and fish and uses it to feed thousands. What is common in the hands of man becomes extraordinary in the hands of the Spirit, and this is what He longs to do in your life as well. He takes the moments you overlook, the choices you think do not matter, and He breathes His power upon them until they shine with eternal significance. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you been in a place where you thought nothing was happening? Days that felt routine, conversations that felt unimportant, paths that seemed ordinary, and yet, when you look back, you realize those were the very moments God was setting things in motion. The Spirit was ordering your steps, aligning you with people, with opportunities, with divine encounters that would later change the course of your life. He was weaving extraordinary outcomes out of the threads of ordinary days. When the Spirit directs you, even interruptions become divine appointments. The delay you thought ruined your plans may have positioned you for a miracle. The detour you thought was a mistake may have led you into the very place where God wanted you to be. The Spirit takes what looks ordinary to human eyes and reveals its extraordinary purpose in God's perfect timing. But there is a secret to seeing the extraordinary unfold. You must surrender the ordinary into His hands. As long as you cling to your own understanding, as long as you measure your life only by what seems big or small, you will miss the beauty of His transforming touch. When you yield every step, every moment, every decision, you give Him the canvas to paint His masterpiece. And once His Spirit breathes upon it, the ordinary can never remain the same. It may not always be seen immediately. Sometimes you will walk for days, months, or even years, feeling as though nothing special is happening. But every time you follow His prompting, every time you obey His gentle nudge, something eternal is being set in place. The extraordinary rarely announces itself in the beginning. It often looks like obedience in the quiet, faithfulness in the unseen, and trust in the unknown. Then suddenly, when the time is right, the Spirit reveals what He has been doing all along. This is why you must never underestimate what the Spirit can do with your life. Do not look at yourself and think, I am too small, too ordinary, too weak, too overlooked. Those are the very qualities that make you a vessel fit for His glory. For when the extraordinary shines through what the world calls ordinary, there can be no doubt that it is the Spirit of God at work. It is not by your strength, not by your wisdom, not by your ability, but by His Spirit alone. And when others look at your life, they will not see just an ordinary person. They will see the extraordinary power of God working through every step you have taken in surrender. Your life becomes a living testimony that the Spirit can take what is small and make it great, what is common and make it holy, what is simple and make it divine. So walk with courage, walk with expectancy, walk with trust, you said. Expand key point 3 into a 800-word segment, flowing naturally within the speech and maintaining alignment with the overall key points. Avoid any headings and ensure the tone is seamless and conversational. Conclude with only the necessary closing line for impact, and don't mention Catherine Kuhlman name, and write it like Catherine Kuhlman is giving speech in Kipo INT ChatGPT said. When the Holy Spirit orders your steps and you choose to walk in obedience, your life begins to bear fruit that cannot be denied. Obedience is not always easy. It often asks you to go against your own will, your own reasoning, and sometimes even against what feels comfortable. But when you surrender and allow the Spirit to lead, the reward is greater than anything you could have gained by clinging to your own way. There is a sweetness, a richness, and a depth of life that comes only through yielded obedience. Think of how many times in your life you felt torn between your own desires and the gentle prompting of the Spirit. In those moments, obedience is the key that unlocks the door to peace. You may not understand it at first, you may even hesitate, but when you step forward in trust, the fruit begins to show. Suddenly, where there was confusion, there is clarity. Where there was fear, there is courage. Where there was emptiness, there is fullness. The Spirit brings forth results that your own efforts could never produce, and He does it in such a way that the glory belongs to God alone. Walking in obedience brings with it a peace that the world cannot imitate. The storms may still rage around you, but you find yourself standing steady, anchored in a peace that passes all understanding. It is not because the circumstances have changed, but because you are walking in step with the One who holds power over every storm. You can rest knowing that if He has led you there, He will sustain you there. That peace is the fruit of obedience, and then there is strength. In your weakness, the Spirit infuses you with supernatural strength. When you take that step of faith, when you say yes, even though it costs you, the Spirit upholds you with a power you know did not come from yourself. Suddenly, you are doing things you never thought possible. You are enduring trials you thought would break you. You are standing in places you thought you could never stand, and each time you obey, His strength in you becomes more evident. The world may look at you and wonder how you are still standing, but you know the secret. It is not you, it is the Spirit within you. Obedience also produces victory. There are battles in life you will never win by fighting in your own strength. Some battles are only won when you yield to the Spirit's leading. It may not make sense in the natural. He may tell you to be still when everything in you wants to fight. He may tell you to speak when everything in you wants to remain silent. He may tell you to walk away when everything in you wants to stay. But when you obey, the outcome is victory, because you are no longer relying on human strategies, but on divine power. And victory that comes from obedience is lasting, because it is rooted in God's will and not your own. As you continue to walk in obedience, your life becomes a living testimony. People around you will see the change. They will notice the peace that surrounds you, the strength that carries you, the victories that follow you, and they will know this could not have come from human effort alone. They will see the evidence of a life ordered by the Spirit, and in that moment your life itself becomes a message, pointing others to the same Spirit who guides and sustains you. But understand, this obedience is not a one-time decision, it is a daily surrender. Every day you are given opportunities to say yes to Him. Some of those choices may seem small, others may feel monumental, but each one matters. Every yes you give the Spirit becomes a seed planted in the soil of your life, and in time those seeds bear fruit, fruit that remains, fruit that blesses others, fruit that glorifies God. The fruit of walking in obedience is not about perfection, but about surrender. You may stumble, you may hesitate, but when your heart is set on obeying the Spirit, He is faithful to lead you back onto the path. And the more you walk in obedience, the more you realize that His way is always better, His timing is always perfect, and His plan is always for your good. So, let your heart be tender to His leading. Do not resist the Spirit's whisper, even when it challenges you, even when it costs you. For in that surrender lies the secret to peace, to strength, and to victory. And in the end, the fruit of obedience will stand as undeniable proof that your steps were ordered by the Spirit of the living God. Beloved, when the Holy Spirit orders your steps, you walk with assurance. You see the ordinary transformed into the extraordinary, and your life bears fruit that no human effort could ever produce. This is the beauty of surrender. Each step, guided by His hand, becomes part of a divine story written for God's glory. So let your heart be yielded, let your will be surrendered, and let your steps be led. For the Spirit is faithful, and if you will trust Him, He will take you where you could never go on your own.